What's up guys, Intellitech Studios here, and you can tell the video is a little bit dark this time around, so I apologize if the video is a bit more grainy as a result, but that is intentional, I promise. Here we are featuring a machine with a nice bright headlight, and this is the first machine ever in my collection. At least, not literally, but in terms of my current collection. This machine is the only machine that has come with me from Kansas City, and this machine I acquired at a thrift store. I forgot what town it was in. I want to say Independence, Missouri is when I bought this, or where I bought this, but I can't remember at this point. But regardless, although I'm very fuzzy on the year, it's sometime between 2008 and 2011 is when I got this machine. I want to say 2008 though. And that sounds like the most accurate to me, although, actually, now that I think about it, I know I've said I've had this for since 2008, but now that I'm thinking about it, that doesn't really make much sense in the timeline, because I got this when my mom was staying at my grandma's secondary house in Missouri. So, I wonder, now that I think about it, that must have been after she sold her house then. And I assume she would have moved to Florida by then. So maybe this was 2010 when I got this. That could be right. I don't know, honestly. So I just remembered. I'm pretty confident I got this in 2010, actually. I just realized I've been saying 2008 this whole time, but 2010 makes the most sense because 2010 is when my mom sold her house and moved to Florida, I think. But before I started visiting her in Florida, because that wasn't until the next year. Because 2011 is when I bought the Bissell Cleanview and the DC-14 full kit at the vacuum shop in Naples, Florida. So actually, yeah, I'm pretty confident that 2010 is when I got this, because I also remember, actually, that would make sense, because, so 2009, so late 2009, early 2010, because I think I had this machine. Now I'm trying to remember. I wonder if my dad can corroborate some of this story, but he probably can't remember because I've had so many of these over the years that he probably doesn't know if it was this one or not. But either way, I think confidently I've had this since at least 2010. I know I just went on that big long tirade for no reason. But anyways, so this machine, at a minimum, I've had for 8 years longer than any of my other machines in my collection, because you guys have seen the journey of me starting to collect again for the first time in many years, starting in 2018 with the birthday video of the DC-14 and the Cleanview Power Track. So, yeah. So this machine has lasted at least 8 years longer in my possession, at least, than every other vacuum in my collection. And I don't even know, do I even have any vacuums from 2018? I'm sure some of you guys can go back and fact check it, or I could just go look myself and stop being lazy. But, I mean, what's the oldest... Besides this, what's the oldest vacuum that you've seen me acquire on video that I still have? Is the Destiny Plus? That doesn't seem right. I feel like there'd be one before that. Power Guy Platinum I didn't get until, I think, 2019. Oh, the big green commercial. I know I still have that because it's literally over there. So it's probably another Bissell, honestly. But yeah, so I think I got inspired to make this video again because Awesome Vacuums just got one of these. He got the original 3522 model from 2002, so the actual launch model, which the only practical difference is that the original 3522 didn't have the bag check indicator, although it later got it. But the very, very first one didn't have the bag check indicator, although his might have. And then it had the swivelly hose from the Power Glide and the Cleanviews. It didn't have the twist and snap hose. Twist and snap hose didn't come out until a revision of the 3522-1. So the 3522-1 is kind of the oldest variant of this design with the twist and snap hose and the change bag indicator. This model also has the downgraded headlight. It has the peanut style bulb, whereas the very first 3522 had the wide beam headlight from the Power Glides. So the headlight was slightly brighter, although generally you can't really tell a difference, so honestly it doesn't actually matter. But you still got the same 5 height adjustments, the same pedal, and I've answered this question many times, but I will answer it again. This machine is the Dash 5 model is supposed to have a black hose. It's a 3522 and the 22-1 that have a black hose. This base assembly is from a 3522 either a Dash 1 or a Dash R. I can't remember because I had both at the same time. But this base came from one of those because when you first saw this machine, I had replaced the base with one from a PowerForce bagless because the pedal had broke on the original base. So the base has been replaced with one with a good pedal, although I could have just replaced the pedal by itself, but at the time I didn't know that. So, yeah. 3522-5, 229th day of 2005. You guys are very familiar with this machine. All the original attachments, still with it. With, of course, the superior crevice tool with the notch and the bleed holes. Nice and scratched up from me daily driving this thing for God knows how long. And I actually, even though when I ran this, I ran it with a HEPA filter, I've since, put back in the original filter, and then also a filter from a different PowerForce just to kind of double these up so there's a bit of a better seal. But yeah. Now, for whatever reason, the filters on the 3522 are much longer than the newer models. The newer models cut off the filter like right here. So this full-length filter is kind of difficult to get your hands on, and I still haven't found a good replacement. Of course, a clean fairy bag, although I ran Arm & Hammer paper bags at the time, which worked perfectly fine. And there is a bit of rust in this from the time I washed the bag door and didn't actually seal that off properly. Good times, good memories. It's got some weird water spots on it. I'm not sure why. It doesn't smell bad, so there's no particulate matter on it or anything. Oops, I just knocked my phone out of my hand. But there's no liquid on it from any animals, so I'm not sure what that weird splattering kind of. I don't know what these weird water spots are. This thing's just been sitting upstairs for God knows how long, so it's definitely not polished or anything. This is just how it is. But it'll always have a special place in my heart, and it'll always be one of my favorite vacuums. It's still lightweight, it's still very powerful. You can still get parts for these as long as you don't mind them being yellow and not matching. Yellow or green and not matching. And yeah, it's just still a great machine. Love the sound of this classic motor. Made in Korea. Ow, I keep hurting my knuckle because my skin is very dry and it hurts. Okay. I'll turn on my humidifier because this is just ridiculous. Dry skin is so annoying. I hate the winter time. Nice little candle. Let's give this a bit of a run. Original brush roll too. Still the original brush roll. Still have not replaced this brush roll. Oh my god, that is nasty. I do not remember it being that nasty on the inside. Whatever. But yeah, still the original brush roll. Still has nice stiff bristles. For whatever reason, this model had really good quality brush rolls. And they just don't seem to go bad nearly as much as the newer ones, despite them having the same design. So yeah, give this a run. This thing will always smell like home to me. I don't know how to describe it. It just smells like home. Beautiful. Absolutely love this machine. Will never not love this machine. I don't care how many Dysons and Sebos and Phantoms. I always love this thing. I don't know what it is. It's probably nostalgia. It's probably whatever, but it's just a brilliant little machine. And my favorite machine in this body style has, for the longest of time, been the Power Glides, because they were always just that little bit of extra special compared to the PowerForce. But honestly, objectively, the PowerForce is the one that has the nostalgia. It's the one that has the, it's the one that captured the market, of course, by a long shot. And there's something just nice about even just the base model PowerForce, even compared to the Power Glides. Even though the filtration, well, the post-motor filtration isn't as good, the hose doesn't stretch, and there's no wide path base, and it's got the more basic headlight, and a shorter cord, obviously. It's only like 23 feet or whatever. There's just something about it. It's just special to me. It will always be special to me. But yeah, that's the PowerForce. And I can hear it picking up stuff. My DC-21 has been a great cleaner. It's been a great machine. But definitely, this thing, I could hear it picking up stuff for sure. And there's definitely stuff in the bag. Ooh, there's crunchy stuff in the bag too. Well, then again, this bag had a stain on it, so there probably was dirt in this bag already. So I guess I can't, knock the 21 too much. Wow, you can really, with this light shining on it, you can really see all the scratches. Pretty great. But yeah, love this thing. Oh, the static cling on this is pretty intense. But yeah, the classic Intellitech Studios officially endorsed best vacuum of all time, the Bissell PowerForce 3522. Technically this one's a -5, but all the 3522s are decent. I actually was going to run the 3525 instead, until I realized there was no brush roll in it, because apparently I took the brush roll out for something. God knows what, I can't remember, but I took the brush roll out of the 3525 for some reason. And I was like, well, I don't have the patience to take that apart right now. I just want to run a vacuum real quick. So I grabbed the PowerForce. And even with the belt that's been on there, I could hear the belt slipping a little bit. I could hear the brush roll kind of making a funny noise. Not because of the bearings, but because the belt is it's obviously been sitting in one spot. So that one spot is like unevenly worn. Because that just kind of happens with rubber belts when you let them sit for a long time. But it doesn't, and even though I can kind of twist the brush, I can kind of pull the brush enough to where it kind of skips the belt a little bit when it's off. It still has plenty of torque on it, and it's still, I guess I could replace it, but it's definitely not necessary yet. But I did run this on medium mode. Most of my other Bissells, I have to run it a notch above medium, but on this one in particular, and there's probably one or two others, I can run it a setting lower. So, and it doesn't appear to be because the bristles are worn on the brush roll or anything. I'm not really sure why. But, yeah. Hi, potato. 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 Claw. 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 Oh. Gentle claw. Ooh. Oh, potato. 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 Flop. PowerForce.